My name is Mimi. I am a compulsive overeater and bulimic, and I am abstinent since 9/29/19 this time around. And I am abstinent because I gratefully weigh and measure my meals off the gray sheet 3 times a day. I don't eat between meals no matter what, and abstinence is the most important thing in my life without exception. And I'm very grateful to be here. Thank you, Paulina, for asking me. And I'm just really laughing right now because I'm looking outside my backyard window and there's my mom. She is a butterfly and she's flying all around the window right now. Just appeared. So that's my sign that whatever comes out of my mouth is what my higher power wants me to say today. And I welcome those who are counting days. We all have today, and really the person who woke up earliest has the longest amount of time today. So I know we're all in different time zones. I am a grateful member of this program of Gray Sheet. And I'll tell you what it was like and what happened to change me and what it's like now. So what it was like was I was crazy with food. From the earliest moment that I can remember, my family used to make fun of me because I could smell the sweet brown confections from the other room at a very young age, and I indulged in those at any time I could get. So sugar was definitely my first drug of choice. That morphed into different various drugs, but sugar was the first one and it is the last one. And it was the easiest one to come by. Although when I started to get a little bit older, I realized that my mom had a kind of delusional relationship with her own body, and come to find out she was a practicing anorexic actually for her whole life until she passed away when she was 67. And so I watched her try and manage her and control her food. And when I hit puberty and started getting curves and putting on weight, that's when she stepped into, manage and control my food. So I had a very just not the healthiest relationship with food. And then this body dysmorphia came to happen, and I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I was 12 years old. So I had to wear a Milwaukee body brace, which went from under my chin all the way down to below my hips. It was a big brace, and I wore it 24/7. And it held me in. You had to cinch it up really tight. And supposedly it was supposed to straighten my spine out, which actually it did. But it came at a time when I was, observing other girls and what they were wearing. And it was very important in my home, what you look like and what you portrayed to the outside world. Very important. And so I not only had this physical constriction around my body, then I started to try and manage and control my food because I wanted to please my mom. And so this went on through high school. I soon found alcohol, and then I found drugs, and that seemed to replace the sugar, but it didn't completely replace the sugar. In fact, you know, uh, well, I'm not going to get into that long story. I definitely went to college with a fear that I was going to gain a lot of weight. My mom actually said to me, and I'm talking about my mom because she was a major part of my experience here. But I today do not blame her in any way, shape, or form. I'm very clear that she did the best she could with the tools that she had at the time. And so she did tell me, I won't be around to police you and your food when you go away to college. You're going to have to learn how to do it on your own. Well, I had no tools. So I quickly learned how to be bulimic. And that worked for me for a lot of years, actually. I practiced bulimia from age 15 to age 30 and fluctuated with my weight on and on. I I always had a fat head, so it didn't matter how thin I got. I felt like I was huge. And come to find uh, speed. And that was my solution for the next several years of my life. I and that and I include that in my story because that is what got me to rehab. And when I got into rehab for speed addiction and alcoholism, I was introduced to the 12 steps. I had toyed with the 12 steps because a therapist in college told me I should go to OA for my eating disorder. And I went, and at the time I was at UCLA, and in LA, the most of the OA meetings were anorexic bulimic emphasis, and there was a lot of competition going on. And I got sicker. I learned stuff that I did not know before I got in those meetings. And we all all the girls, we all just competed against each other. So it was a really sick environment. So I didn't get any recovery there. But when I got into rehab for my drug and alcohol addiction, I was immersed in the 12 steps. And I remember my sponsor, I told her, I was dual diagnosed with alcoholism, drug addiction, and an eating disorder. So they put me on a lot of medication and but didn't give me many tools. And I had the 12 steps and I tried my darndest to work those 12 steps with my food. And it wasn't until I heard someone actually in GreySheet say that they finally realized they needed to respect their eating disorder and give it its own 12-step program. And that's what changed things for me. It was like when I finally realized, you know what, these 12 steps are going to work for my food addiction as well, but I need to be with people who are talking about the food. You know, I can, I couldn't keep going on in the AA meetings when everyone was eating the stuff out of the pink boxes. Like that was okay. It wasn't okay for me because I would go out and get my entire own pink box after the AA meeting and consume it. And that's how I ate large quantity. And then I either purged it with bulimia, exercise bulimia, whatever I needed to do to get it out and to get it off the body. So I dabbled then in food programs, and I never picked up drugs and alcohol again. Thank God. I just celebrated 25 years of clean and sober recovery in May. But my abstinent state in GreySheet, I'm coming up on 20, I'm coming up on 5 years. And I came into GreySheet by default. I had a sponsor in AA, and I watched her every Saturday morning leave our AA meeting early. And I asked her finally, "Where do you go? Why are you leaving early?" And she said, "Oh, I go up to the Grove in Los Angeles and I go to this GreySheet meeting." And I said, "Oh, I thought I'd done all the food fellowships. I've never heard of that one. Can you take me?" And she took me there, and I could not believe when I sat in that room and I looked around at all these people in right-sized bodies with this glow, and they said the mantra, that we say, and I was just blown away. I felt immediately like I found my people. I didn't have that experience in OA. I didn't see the physical recovery. But in GreySheet, I did. And I heard it. I witnessed it with my very own eyes. However, then I got the food plan. And I looked at her and I'm like, are you kidding? Like, I can't, how am I supposed to do this? You know, all my favorite foods are not on the gray sheet. And she said, you know, we don't do this forever. We do it one meal at a time. And you don't ever, ever, ever have to feel the way you feel around food and in your body ever again. You don't have to feel this way ever again. You know, one meal at a time. So I said, okay, I'm going to try it. And she asked me to commit my next 3 meals. And the clock is like hidden, Joel. Can you just tell me how much time I have left? I can't really see it. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe if I push OK here. Oh, there it is. I got it.
Excellent.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. So I came into the Gray Sheet program in May 2012. And this is just my story. It does not need to be your story. I got day ones for the next 5 years. And I realize now that I just kept taking back my own will because I was so scared of turning it over completely. And, you know, it says that we need to have a desire. That's the only requirement for this program, is to have a desire to not eat compulsively anymore. And I'm telling you, I had that desire, but I couldn't stop. I couldn't put the fork down. I just couldn't. And I am so grateful that I had a sponsor who, every time I called her and I said, I picked up again. There was no judgment. There was no go get out your journal and write 10 pages and figure out why. It was, do you want to commit your next 3 meals? And I said, yes. And I did. And I might not make it till dinner the next day, but I kept doing this practice over and over again. And she promised me that if I didn't leave the rooms, that this program would just take hold of me. It would take hold of me in spite of me. And it did. And it did. September 29th, 2019. Now, that was after I had gotten 5 years in the program, took back my will again on a trip to Costa Rica, and had to start over again. This time around, I have my commitment to the program was to tell the truth, no matter what. And to call my sponsor in a surrendered state of like, just tell me what to do. And she taught me that that's a holy sentence. Tell me what to do. And so I've made mistakes. I like to travel. Traveling is, Gray Sheet is not the most convenient thing when you're traveling, but it is absolutely doable. I just came back from an incredible 11-day safari in Africa, and I was abstinent. And I left for that trip knowing I was going to come back abstinent no matter what. And so there were WhatsApp phone calls, there were mistakes that were made. But the thing about Gray Sheet is we talk about having this perfect heart. A perfect heart, that to me means that when I was on the plane on the way home and I realized that it was going to be 12 hours before I had my next meal and I was starting to spin out, I closed my eyes and I prayed to my higher power, who has seen fit to keep me in these rooms. I just prayed for the willingness to do the next right indicated step. And that was to eat one of my hostage meals. And it was disgusting, but it was abstinent. And then as soon as I touched down, I was able to call my sponsor and turn it over. And that's what we do here. Like, I don't know how to do life without the structure of this amazing program. And today I have a relationship with my higher power that is so comforting and just wants the best for me. And my higher power kind of is interchangeable with my mom. She passed away 5.5 years ago. And so I tend to pray to this goddess, mom, power thing. And it works for me. And I see that my time is about up. I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to be a member of this amazing, amazing group. And I hope that everybody gets another day abstinent today. Thank you.